Welcome to the Virtual Cheese Awards 2023, showcasing the very best of British cheeses. I'm Cara Bowen and I am moderating the session this morning. Today we are judging class F6 Ewes milk soft cheese, and I'm joined by some incredibly talented judges from Wales. Bore da, guys, can you just introduce yourselves quickly?
Yep. Bore da pawb, I'm Carrie. I'm a sheep's cheesemaker, a cosin from Eryri, from the northern part of Snowdonia.
My name's Ed. I've worked as a cheesemonger for getting on for 12 years now, mainly at La Fromagerie in London, but more recently I moved to Anglesey and opened my own cheese shop.
Bore da, my name is Daniel David. I'm the MD of Blas ar Bwyd, and we have been selling cheeses across Wales for the last 35 years.
Wonderful, guys. So we're going to dive straight in because our first entrant is actually a cheese that's had to be cooked and fried. It is F61114, straight out the kitchens and onto the boards. I go for it, guys.
I'd say straight away when cooking it, the crust formed quite quickly, but then fell away off the cheese. It was quite hard to sort of keep the sort of crust on the outside together. It's gone very, very soft.
I didn't cook mine, so you've got the advantage there. Right?
Any aroma, guys?
Slight sort of sheepiness to it. That sort of like a sort of almost like a sort of farmyardy sort of funk to it.
I love that farmyard funk.
Farmyardy sort of funk.
But not in an entirely negative way.
No, I don't mean that as a negative. No.
I didn't think you did in any way. So I just love the terminology.
It's gone very, very soft very quickly. I didn't cook it for that long and it's gone very, very soft.
This one's firmed up here, so you've got a really nice squeakiness in the bite, and it cuts. It takes a little bit of pressure to cut it. So, but I can see what you mean by the little collapse, because the end there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've lost
softer. Yeah,
I've lost the crust on ours completely. I mean, this is the trouble when you're judging a cooked cheese. It depends on how it's been cooked as well. But ours has sort of turned almost to a puddle on the plate.
Okay.
Like a little. I mean, as I said, I don't think I cooked it for too long, but it's kind of gone very soft, very sort of quickly in the frying pan. You'd like a touch more. Maybe I did cook it for too long, but I'd like a little bit more sort of structure, a little bit more squeakiness.
This seemed to have kept up quite nicely here.
Yeah. Okay.
I cheated. I got Gwenda's cook downstairs, and she's won 58 Great Taste Awards this century. So
okay,
she's got good equipment in there as well.
Yeah.
So it's kept its form really well here.
Okay.
And you can see I've just cut that as a brick shaped, and it keeps its shape really well.
What about flavour, guys?
Now. And I like that terminology of farmyard funkiness. That's really good. It feels just a touch oily on the outside for me. But the structure of the flavour, salt balance, I think that's really good.
Salt balance is good. There's almost a dryness to the flavour that's kind of left my mouth wanting to go for a glass of water. It's got like I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but it's left a sort of very like a sort of super dry champagne or something, where you kind of you feel like you're lacking some moisture or something.
And there's a acidity there too, isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Is it pronounced or just slight?
Acidity is slight, I would say. It's there definitely, but not overly pronounced.
No, I think it's quite pleasant actually. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, let's jump in and score it out of 10 for appearance, please, guys.
We got the actual. The trouble is we've got two very different looking cheeses now. So
Yeah,
from my perspective, I would say a sort of 6 on the sort of cooked, the final cooked product. But you look like yours looks very different to ours. So
yes, I mean I've got parts of the cheese has obviously gone a bit like yours, but
yeah.
the main inside of the cheese seems to be doing really well.
Mhm.
So I'm scoring higher than you, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay.
no, that's
Well,
all right.
Should we split the difference then? Or?
Yeah, I'd have gone for about 8, so it looks like a 7 would be a
7.
compromise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Aroma, guys.
It's very light in aroma again.
Yeah. It does have a certain character, as I said.
But a cheese of this type,
Yeah.
how would
It's
you
probably
rank?
got more sort of character than you would expect almost.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe a 7 again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's 7, that's fine.
Yeah,
Gary?
no, I agree too. I mean, that I think it's still fairly moderate on the funkiness, you know, the sort of sheepiness bit, and for me that's just right. That's just you get too much of the sheep coming in, and it definitely detracts. But for me, that's about hit it right. Yeah.
Perfect. Texture.
Again, this is difficult for us to compare with you, Daniel, because we've got two very different.
Well, I had a really nice bite on that, and I had a nice squeakiness that I quite like. But I understand as well about that sort of dryness that you got in there.
Yeah.
Again, we're gonna have to find a middle ground for scoring on this one.
Do we think a 7 again?
Well, I've got variety in my place as well. So yeah, I'd be happy with a 7.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. And the flavour.
Okay, there was something about it. I can't quite put my finger on what it was. It was just a little bit sort of off flavor. It's not too bad, but just something there. Maybe it was the funkiness on the aroma that came through a bit too much in the flavor for my liking. So that would be my main sort of reason for scoring it down.
Harry?
I agree on that. Yeah. There's quite what it is. I'm not quite sure, but
just something that's hard to put your finger on, but it's just not quite right for me.
and it may or not be relevant, but sometimes you get these sort of flavors coming in when if the during storage of the milk that it's been sort of damaged a bit, through overly being moved too much. When the milk is cold, and particularly sort of sheep's milk in particular is is a bit prone to this, that you've got to treat it very, very gently, and there's just something coming in that might hint that it might be something. That's a complete guess. I might be totally wrong on that, but that would be my first thought there.
I follow what's being said, and there's a sort of imbalance there somehow. But it's still very pleasant cheese for me. But I have got my favorite halloumi in mind when I'm tasting it, and it doesn't score higher than that one. So for me, that's there's room for improvement on the flavor. Let's put it like that.
So where are we going with
7
the
again?
7 seems about right for me.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I'd agree, because I think what we've been saying there, it's still quite slight, you know, that we're talking about, you know, it still comes over as a good flavour, but just that little bit room for improvement.
Great, thank you guys. We're going to move on to F61146.
Well, that's a good looking cheese.
Carrie, can you bring it up to the, or Ed, either of you? Give us a little twirl around. Lovely. Oh, wow, look at that crust.
Yeah, lovely looking cheese. Nice sort of orangey hue to it. Maybe washed. Potentially could have had a wash of some sort.
Just a light wash. There's a sort of little hint of a sort of brevibacterium, the orange that comes through, but only slight. And when you've got it's obviously a quite hard dry cheese, so we just have a slight impact on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you've got the development of quite a range of other molds coming in as well.
Yeah.
Good looking cheese, I would say.
How's it cutting?
It cuts very smoothly. It's quite a dense cheese. The rind is very thin.
Can see.
But I sort of expected whiter,
A whiter,
cheese
white
in the middle.
paste. Yeah, maybe it suggests it's been aged for a little while, given the size of the cheese, for it to darken like that. Aroma-wise, sort of getting the sweetness of the sheep's milk on the aroma.
Yeah, sweet and almost nutty, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a sort of like a wet hazelnut or something.
Yeah, actually, going back to the rind, I mean, given that it has been aged for a bit, actually the rind is, I find the rind is sort of relatively thin, really.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
it is.
they've done a good job on that in actually limiting the things.
Very well made cheese from the look of it, at least. Quite easy going to begin with. It's got that sort of tang from a sort of aged pecorino. I guess that's the sort of style we're talking about, but it's definitely a tang saltiness that you get from an aged pecorino.
It's a very smooth paste inside.
Very smooth,
Very
yeah.
smooth,
Yeah. There is some of that nuttiness that we were talking about in the aroma. It's coming through as well.
Okay, shall we take parents?
For me, it's a lovely looking cheese. 9 or 10, I'd be happy with on that. I like not rustic is the wrong word, but you can tell it's a sort of handmade cheese with a bit of care and attention being given to it, and the rind development, as Carrie says, the sort of different growths that you're getting on the rind, to me, is the mark of potentially a very good cheese.
I absolutely agree. I mean, to be very finicky here, and this is really, it's just that in order for a 10, I would probably like to see fewer, I think the mould could have been filled a little bit more exactly, and I think you would then sort of get rid of the little indentations on the top. Now it depends how you view that. You can on the one hand say, well, this is a mark of a real artisan cheese, and there, but I think it might be possible, even as an artisan cheese, to get it sort of slightly smoother. I mean, we've got one surface that's got more indentations than the other. You've got one that's really quite smooth, and then one that is a little bit pitted. I mean, a very minor point, absolute minor point, but for me, that would take it down from 10, really.
Yes, I agree with you. There's just a slight wedge on the cheese as well, and that's another mark that it's it's higher this end, sloping down a little bit. So the old cheesemakers used to get docked a penny a cheese for their wedge cheeses. So it's just, as you say, filling the molds absolutely perfectly balanced and getting all the curds cut to the same sizes. And it's all those things to make sure that it's perfect. So
What are we going to give
I
it?
agree, just slight detraction. So maybe a 9.
9.
9, I'd go 9, yeah.
Brilliant. Aroma?
There's not lots. It's not giving off a lot of aroma.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's very pleasant, and it's sort of hinting at something that you think, yes, what's there? It's inviting you in, very definitely, but quite subtle there.
What are we going with?
8, 9.
Carrie?
I'd go more on the 8 than the 9, possibly, but maybe we go 8.5 on that. Could we? Daniel, what about you then?
And there's more aromas on the rind than there is inside the cheese, so it is inviting in. So yes, I'd go for happy with an 8 myself.
8,
yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. Texture?
It's monotone textures, really. I mean, it's the same texture at the front of the wedge as at the rear, where you'd expect some change from being just a smooth paste to having a little bit more a firmer texture, probably.
Yeah. There is a touch of graininess to it as well. Just being left with a little bit sort of granular sort of textures after eating the cheese, but only.
Yes, I agree, Daniel. And the more I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking that maybe this isn't such an aged cheese after all, because as you say, we're not getting a distinction between just under the rind and the middle. I mean, I actually quite like the texture, but there's.
I'd have liked a little bit more breakdown after the rind.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So 8.
8.
Lovely. And finally, flavour.
Now, this is a tricky one, isn't it? Because all of these things have been leading up to thinking, right, this is going to be quite something, and it's very pleasant flavour, but it is light, and I was expecting something to develop in the mouth, and it hasn't quite got there. I mean, I'm still left with a very pleasant cheese, but
almost buttery instead of nutty.
Yeah, I know there's a sweetness I'd like from this style of cheese, which isn't necessarily there to balance out a bit of the acidity and the sort of saltiness of it. Seems to be just lacking a touch of character.
I think maybe it could just do to be aged a little longer.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we going to go with today?
I mean, 7?
Somewhere between 7 and 8, I would go 7.
I'd be pushing up towards an 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
8 or 7.5, guys?
Well, I'd be happy with either 7 or 8, and given Daniel's 8, let's go 8.
Let's go 8. Brilliant. Thank you very much. The next cheese is F61106. Oh, who's going to bring it up to the camera first? Thank you, Danielle. Ooh, okay.
Very different looking cheese, no rind. Very much whiter taste as well.
Yeah.
Feels sort of more rubbery almost to pick it up and to cut through as well.
I'm going to cut it lengthways to try and see what's inside there, really, because the pack.
Not sure you'll find.
No,
different.
no. Don't know if we can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Very even.
Even.
Yes, and it's got that rubberiness in it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does.
What about aroma, guys?
Giving us
I'm not getting much from
much.
No.
No real clues as to what to expect. Definitely not as rubbery as I thought it was going to be. It's actually more supple in texture.
And the breakdown in the mouth is it's not as rubbery as all
No.
seen before.
No, definitely.
So the bite is actually quite very good on it.
It is, yeah. It's not got a great deal of character.
No.
Have another go.
I think
It's
it's got a
certainly
little
not-
bit more character than I was expecting. This, yeah. But
It's very mellow, isn't it? This is
Mellow.
just-
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
it's
lovely.
a calm, it's a calm cheese.
Yeah.
calm. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I like that.
And again, coming back to that word milkiness, the sort of the character of the milk is definitely there.
I think the character is there. You can. That's a definitely a sheep milk cheese, but without being cheapy.
Cheapy.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we going to give it for appearance?
It's a tough one. I mean, it's not giving any clues really as to the cheese, is it? When you look at it, you really wouldn't know what to expect at all. I mean, I'd like a rind to start off with, something to give us an idea of the sort of style of cheese that we're talking about. So just a bit sort of, I don't know if you want to use.
But there again, it depends what we're after here. As a sort of wedge of cheese that you might find on the supermarket shelf, I mean, there would be nothing at all that would detract. I mean, it's clean, it's consistent shape, but so in that context, it would be fine. In the context of thinking of a interesting type of cheese that we might be interested in, perhaps it wouldn't score so highly.
No, it gives me the impression of a catering cheese that goes onto a chef's table and goes straight into a dish, cold dish. So yes, there's not much.
7, 6.
Yeah.
6.
What's the difference there? 6.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 6.5. Yeah.
Hey, aroma.
Very, very light. And again, it doesn't really give us a clue of the flavors that you expect.
It's giving nothing. You try and get the oils out of it a little bit. There's really nothing coming off.
Where we
7.
go?
Well, it's difficult to give more than 6 too.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. The 6 on that.
Texture.
Well,
Texture was quite nice, supple, no graininess, no sort of, it wasn't too fumbly or anything like that. I'd go maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, the only thing that the rubberiness seems to go when you're biting.
Yeah, yeah,
So that pulls it up to a 7 for me.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, 7.
Lovely. And finally, flavour.
It's just lacking a bit of depth. It's not got enough. Again, I've used the word character. I'd like a little bit more coming through. It's very, very pleasant to eat, but without too much going on. I would maybe give it a 7.
I'm happy with a 7. Again, it's a lack of character, lack of uniqueness about this cheese, really.
Yeah.
The next cheese we're moving on to is F61093. I have to say, your boards are looking very beautiful.
Yeah, they're nice boards.
Got a nice raw edge here.
Can we see the rind as well?
Yeah, beautiful rind, almost like a cloth bound cheddar.
Thank you.
Because it's a good cloth.
Yeah, it's a cloth bound.
Lovely, lovely looking wedge of cheese. Aroma wise, it sort of smells like a nicely aged cheese that's been aged in this sort of, again, cheddar, sort of farmhouse cheddar conditions, like almost like a Montgomery or something like Montgomery cheddar, in terms of the aroma coming off it, that sort of mustiness and sort of cellar quality, which don't necessarily sound like good words, but when you're talking about this type of cheese, are actually very nice.
But it's a clean cellar, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Not damp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go on in and cut it. Let's have a look. Wow, and the array of knives today as well, guys.
We're just using the one. Daniel's showing us up a bit.
That looks like a great wedge, Daniel.
It is. And it's cut really nicely.
Cut nicely, didn't fall apart at all.
No, and there's lovely difference in colour from the tip of the nose to the breakdown there.
Lovely sweetness coming through.
Lovely sweetness.
Nuttiness.
Almost a grassy note coming through. You can really taste the character of the milk and the quality of the aging. Very, very nice cheese. My mouth is watering as I eat it.
So now you're making me very jealous.
Yeah, this is a very, very delicious cheese, I have to say.
Absolutely.
You should have sent us a bigger piece to judge, I think.
And the difference.
You am, I don't.
The difference of the wine, the flavour, you get more of that earthiness, that sort of musty sort of cellar quality, and it smoothens out towards the middle. So there's a lovely sort of balance there. Yeah, I'd be quite happy to eat that whole thing right now.
Wow, praise indeed. Let's give it a score for appearance, guys.
And that's got to be a pretty high score.
Yeah,
it's really.
Yeah. 9 or even a 10.
Well, it's pushing a 10 for me as well, because
Well,
I can't see.
If we don't give it a 10, we've got to think how it would be improved, haven't we? So
I would.
You know, it's without faults around the rind.
Yeah, around the wine, there's no fissures or anything.
No.
Allowing sort of a bloom to get through at all. Yeah, 10. I'm happy to.
Happy with 10.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love getting the pen paddle out. Aroma?
Really good. There's such a I remember I could pick cheeses from our cheese rooms just by smelling them, because the dairies, each dairy smells differently. And this one, there's that lovely mustiness, but it's very clean smell on the outside rind.
Yeah.
That carries in the flavor just inside the rind, but there's a really lovely nutty aroma from within the middle of the cheese as you come out.
Yeah.
What are we going to spread?
Again, I'm happy to go high on that. 9, 10. It smells like how I want a farmhouse aged cheese to smell.
That's high for me as well.
Yeah. Where are we going? 9, 10?
Harry?
Yeah, probably 9, yes.
Yeah, happy with the 9.
Happy with the 9 on that.
Okay. Texture?
Well,
Again, this is
hard to put.
yes, you know, we as Dana was saying, we've got the gradation going from just underneath the rind into the middle. Really hard to fault that one.
Can you fault it?
no, it cuts excellent with a knife, and then the bite is really good.
The mouthfeel is lovely. Yeah.
What are we going with?
10.
10.
10.
Beautiful. And flavour?
I like the range of flavors.
Lovely, yeah.
Goes all the way through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's several different flavors. So the range of flavors there is fantastic.
Yeah.
Dare I ask what we're going with?
10. I've got lovely flavour still left in my mouth. It
Yeah.
keeps going.
Yeah.
It's one of those cheeses that you sort of taste 5 minutes later still. 10.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Nobody else in this room is going to have a piece of this cheese.
I mean, it's going home with you, is it?
Okay, the next one on the list is F61089.
1089.
Got another nice wedge of cheese, much whiter colour again. And
Can
there's
you hold
something
it
on
up to the camera a little bit more for us?
have you got something on the rind there? Some sort of herb or something that's been added onto the rind.
Yeah, a little dusting of.
Yeah. To smell what it is, but
No,
Aroma-wise?
very difficult to smell anything.
yeah, it is. It's odd, given that it's obviously had some addition, but it's hard to work out what it is. So it's not actually adding much to the aroma.
No.
We cut into it.
Yeah,
So there's a, That's
You're
quite
getting it.
fresh, isn't it? In the,
Yeah,
Very smooth cut.
very smooth cut. The little sweetness.
it's sort of lactic.
Yeah. Lactate. Touch of sweetness. And almost. You're dealing with.
It's almost a grittiness in little fine grittiness in the texture when you bite into it.
Through the rind.
No,
Just the, oh, okay.
Mm.
It's hard to work out what it is they've actually put on the cheese.
very difficult. It's mixed with salt.
Yeah. I wonder what that is.
Well, they're green, so presumably they're a form of leaves, but it's fairly
Yeah.
gritty as well.
Yeah. It must be, yeah, like you say, maybe mixed with salt. Could it be seaweed?
Well, it's not much character to the flavor of it.
But the saltiness, it could be.
And what about the flavour, guys? What's coming through?
A little bit of acidity, sort of yogurty, almost sort of lactic yogurt sort of flavour. quite one note, I find.
Yeah, there's no variety as
Yeah.
such. It's just a
It eats nicely, the texture is nice.
Mm.
Again, that sort of suppleness, that sort of melting in the mouth sort of quality it has is quite nice.
but the dusting on the outside seems to just come off in
Yeah,
the mouth.
yeah.
It just, so I'm not too sure if that's married with the cheese, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's bringing to the
No,
cheese,
Can't really
if
work out
if
what's
anything.
Okay, let's rate it for appearance.
Well,
I mean, I like the look of the rind. I think that looks quite nice. The cheese itself is very white. It's not giving many clues as to what to expect
no.
from it otherwise. Maybe a 7?
Yes, I think that the leaves or whatever on the outside is there just to make it more attractive. Is it
Yeah,
missing the
yeah.
cheese?
Yeah,
And I
perhaps.
think it succeeds in that, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 is fine.
Aroma?
Very light.
There is an aroma more so than the other sort of very white cheese that we had earlier on in the class. It's definitely something else.
Yeah, it's fairly lactic.
Yeah.
There's no smell on the green outside stuff.
No. 6 or 7, 7 maybe again.
Yeah, well, 6.5 then.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Texture?
I was quite keen on the texture, quite liked the mouthfeel.
I
You
found it
look
quite,
less sure.
yeah, it was quite smooth. Cuts very well. There we
Yeah.
are. But then in the mouth, I was
Oh,
surprised
you had
by
that
a little graininess.
Yeah, a little graininess, yeah.
Yes, I agree. I don't know that the outside really adds to the texture. In fact, but for the actual cheese itself, I was quite pleasantly surprised that the texture was rather more pleasant than I was expecting.
Okay, so what should we say, 7?
Yeah.
Yep, 7's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then
Flavour finally, guys.
Well, as they've added the flavors on the outside, so it should have added flavor to the cheese.
yeah,
And I don't think it brings a lot.
no, I agree. Yeah, they presumably done that to try and bring a bit more character, like you said, to the appearance and to the flavour, but it's not achieving a great deal. I mean, it's not a bad flavour,
No.
but again, it's very one note. It hasn't left that lovely aftertaste that we had from the previous cheese.
Where are we going with this one then?
6.
Yeah, 6, 6.5. That's,
Yeah,
I think possibly 6.5 because even though it is quite one-dimensional, there aren't any flavours there that are shouting out that are saying this is unpleasant at all. So it's I'd go 6.5.
Brilliant. So we're going to move on to our final cheese in this class, which is F61012, please. Ed, do you mind holding it up for us to have a look at?
very different looking cheese. Darker, some sort of plastic rind, waxy rind on it, so not a natural rind. Feels quite very like a harder cheese than the others that we've had.
oh, yeah, it is quite hard, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Is that an oiled rind?
It could be, it might just be where it's sort of been sat in the plastic for a bit too long and there's sweat a little bit out.
What about aroma, guys?
Faint nuttiness to the aroma. Nice and clean.
Yeah, there is a nuttiness. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
Cuts evenly.
It's nicely. So it reminded me of almost of those sort of alpine cheeses
Yeah.
in terms of that sort of Gruyere like nuttiness, sweetness.
I like the little pockets inside the cheese as well.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah, there's a rind.
picking up pineapple.
Picking up what? Sorry.
Pineapple in the flavour. It's nice. The nuttiness and the smell carries through as well.
Mm.
Again, the sort of the acidity is there.
Yeah.
Nice salt level.
Gary?
Yep, the sort of salt and sweet coming through. This is, yeah. Again, I think this is reminding me of the sort of alpine cooked cheeses. You know, ones that the curds are cooked at a higher temperature.
It's very nice. Nice balance as well between the different flavour profiles and sort of sweetness, and then the tang and the salt.
Are you getting any little crystals in it as well?
Yeah.
I didn't pick any up. I can certainly see them in the cheese.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's very pleasant cheese.
Yeah, it is.
Flavors are really good. I like your pineapple notes on that. That tickled me a bit.
Okay, what are we going to give it for appearance?
Maybe an 8.
Yeah, 8, even a 9 actually.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very, very clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tend to prefer a sort of natural rind, but that's maybe clouding my judgment a little bit. But otherwise, it's very good looking cheese.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm happy to go for a 9 if that's what you guys think.
Yep, 9.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Aroma?
Again.
Just a touch light,
Yeah.
but it is what we're expecting as well.
Exactly. Yeah. 8 or 9 again for me.
What do you think, Carrie?
Yes, I think I do like there's something that's telling me there's a touch, a hint of a sort of I'd almost say soap. It didn't soap at all. There's something. I would just take it down a touch there. I would go 8 rather than 9, I think, but I'm happy to go halfway. That's
So I think 8 is better.
Daniel?
I think 8 is about right.
Lovely. Texture?
It's nice. It crumbles away nicely. Again, those sort of grittiness, no unpleasant textures at all from it. Maybe a little dry.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But that would be my
cuts
only.
Really well. Cuts really
Yeah.
well. Mouth feels good, but there is a dryness about it.
Yeah, that would be my only qualm, really. So happy to say, what do we think? An 8 or a 9?
Happy to spread those.
Yeah, I think 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, the dryness is perhaps a little bit too much, but yeah, 8 for me.
8. Yeah, I agree with that.
Lovely. And finally, flavour, guys.
What do you think? I was very keen on that. I like the length, sort of the balance of sort of sweet beginning and then moving into the more sort of earthy, more umami flavors with that saltiness and the acidity as well of the finish. I thought it was very nice cheese.
Where are we going on a score?
9 for me.
Yeah, I think it's a carefully made cheese, and it's a cheese made for maturing a little bit.
Yeah,
I still find it a little bit young where it is now, but the flavors are all correct all the way through it. I'm a touch below 9 personally
okay.
on the flavors.
I agree, Daniel, and I think maybe you're right. I was trying to work out what, but I think there's still something in there that needs to be aged out. I'm really not quite sure what it is.
Mm.
And I've described it as a bit of soapiness, but I don't, so it's wrong. That isn't, that there is something there that I think needs to go a little bit further.
Mm.
But it's only very slight. I agree with Ed. It's a lovely cheese. Yeah.
So are we going 8 or 8.5?
Maybe, to be fair, 8.5 perhaps is good for that.
Mhm.
Thank you very much, guys. Well, I am delighted to announce that the winning cheese for the Ewes Milk hard cheese class is F61093.
That's a surprise.
Oh, don't shout, don't shout. Yes, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Butler's Farmhouse Cheeses, for providing these beautiful aprons. Oh, thanks, guys, for showing them off so beautifully. And I just want to thank our incredible Welsh judges for a really brilliant morning. Some great insights and some lovely smiles and good cheer. The date for the diary is Wednesday, the 17th of May, where we'll be judging the best of classes in the categories, our best Welsh cheese, our best English, our Northern Irish and Scottish cheeses. We have our Salsa Plus trophy, a new trophy this year for the highest scoring Salsa Plus cheese. And again, we are celebrating the amazing people that work in cheese and around cheese. So you still have time to nominate any cheese heroes, young cheesemakers, and new cheesemakers. We also have our sustainability trophy. And then finally, we will end the day culminating the crowning of the Supreme Champion 2023. Thank you again to my amazing judges and good luck to all the cheeses going forwards.